Hello UKSM viewers and welcome back to UKSM Winter. The next run today is going to be Drakodan playing Sparkster in the normal category. Though before I hand things over to Drakodan, do remember that we are raising money for special effect over the course of today. You've just watched a bunch of videos from Special Effects showing some of the brilliant work that they do with disabled people across the country, so please dig deep if you can, because every little helps when it comes to giving gamers the chance to game, just like anyone deserves to be able to do. Drakodan, whenever you're ready, you can take things away. Remember to give me a countdown so that I can start the timer.
Thank you very much, Matt. Welcome back to UKSM, everyone. I am Drakodan. Been a while since I've been on the UKSM stage. Very happy to be back and very happy to be bringing back Sparkster for you all. If you've not seen this game before, it is part of the Rocket Knight series, such as Rocket Knight Adventures on the Genesis. And if you're a little unfamiliar with this run, I'll do my best to bring you up to speed what this run is really about. It's very fast-paced, very high octane. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun with it. So, everyone is ready, going to get back to the title screen. We're going to begin in 3, 2, 1, go. So, Sparkster, part of the Rocket Knight series. As it sounds, you have a rocket pack which you can boost around with. This is your main movement option in the game, and it's also your main attacking option against certain bosses. The other main way that you can deal damage in this game is with your sword and with a unique ability to this game within the series, the rolling attack, which is going to be used a lot throughout the game to deal a lot of damage. You can't really use it infinitely though, as you do build up a value which I call exhaustion, and once the exhaustion meter is filled, Sparkster just becomes immobile. You don't have control of him for about 3 seconds, so I'm constantly moderating my rolling attack usage. There's certain ways that you can mitigate the exhaustion value in this game as well, such as not using a rolling attack for a while. Or alternatively, you can take damage to instantly empty the exhaustion meter. So there's quite a bit of damage boosting in this game as well, like taking damage at tactical times, so that you can continue to roll in order to deal damage faster and to be able to move faster. So we're already at the end of stage 1. As you can see, the game's very fast and sometimes the camera struggles to keep up with what's going on, but the stages themselves are relatively short. For this first boss fight, we can just stand against his body and just boost upwards every time the visor opens. Do this a few times to dispatch him. I'm going to take a little bit of damage here if the game gives me the opportunity. With the amount of health that I'm ending here, I'm going to get a stage clear bonus of 6,000 for the life bonus specifically. Every time you clear a stage, you get the fixed stage clear bonus itself, and then you get an additional life bonus that corresponds to the amount of health you have remaining. You can't speed up this score scroll, so it's in your best interest to finish stages with as little health as possible. That obviously poses a degree of risk in boss fights, especially when you're damage boosting to try and deal damage faster. So a lot of the boss fights in this game, they can look very dangerous, but the damage attack routing and the amount of damage I'm going to take from attacks is pretty thoroughly planned out so that I'll be able to finish fights fairly consistently and safely. With a couple of exceptions where the strategy is really to just deal damage as fast as possible and hope it's fast enough. Also taking a little death there to the roller. There are quite a few instant death hazards in this run, which, again, following the prescribed route, you should never really have difficulty with them, but sometimes they crop up and catch you off guard, especially with the speed that this game moves. As you see, this is a very fast-paced game. But only a couple of instant death hazards remaining in the stage, and again, just routed so that you shouldn't really have to worry about them. I'm going to be coming into the stage 2 boss now. So I'm going to wait for an audio cue before boosting to the right here. So waiting for that audio cue means that it gives the boss time to spawn whilst on screen, rather than spawning off screen, which would happen if I started the fight any further to the right over there. And a lot of RNG with the attack patterns that boss can choose to use, starting off with a very unfavourable attack where he's just swinging the metal bar around. That makes you take a lot of damage and makes it difficult to deal damage to him very quickly, but it does mean that I'm ending the stage with less health remaining, so slightly better life bonus. Going to be dumped now into a very extended auto-scroller. Got my nice cup of tea here. You don't quite have enough time to fully put the kettle on and prepare a cup, but what you can do now is you can fill the kettle, you can flick that switch, you can come back, watch another couple of stages, and then stage 7 is another auto-scroller, so the kettle will be boiled by then, and then you can just top it off again. It'll take like a few seconds to boil at that point, put your cup on, and bring a cup of tea back for stage 8, the last stage, because you'll need something to relax you. I'll need something to relax me through stage 8. It's a very stressful last stage to the run. But for the start of stage 3, we do absolutely nothing. It is optimal to take no action at the start of the stage because it's a fixed rate auto-scroller. There's nothing I can do to speed it up, and if I'm just actively playing and destroying enemies, all that can really do is cause lag frames from there being like too many particle effects on screen. So it's only going to lose time if I actively play the game here, even though it's only a slight amount of time, but as I say, it doesn't help. And I'm going to get through here. I'm not hitless right now, but I will get health pickups by the end of this auto-scroll segment, so by the time I go into the stage 3 boss, I will be able to be at full health. And the stage 3 boss is the first boss where we really abuse the damage boosting potential in this game, so having full health for that boss is very important. It's legitimately quite risky to go into that boss with anything less than full health. Okay, so gonna end this auto-scroll segment in the middle of the screen rather than on the right-hand side of the screen. For some reason, you enter the next part of the auto-scroller slightly faster if you're here rather than on the right side. When the tool-assisted speedrun was created, even the task author actually didn't know about that. Like, there's a slight time loss in the task because he's all the way to the right and it takes slightly longer to go into this section, but it's just weird how certain things like that work in games. It's very unintuitive that that would be a thing. Just boosting down to try and get here as fast as possible. So the bridge is going to collapse. You can maintain airborne status on the left where the floor has fallen away and keep like rolling, attacking and boosting to not fall into the void, but with how many lag frames occur in this game, it's very possible for an input to occur on a lag frame and just get eaten, so if you're not careful, you can just fall straight into the void there, and it is quite a hefty death that sends you back a fair way, so no value in doing it in a marathon run. So stage 3 boss here, multiple segments to this boss. There's this caterpillar where we have to, destroy multiple segments of the body, and here is the true value of damage boosting and resetting the exhaustion meter, that you just get to pump out an incredible amount of damage. The damage that you specifically are doing is each of your attacks is assigned a damage value. The projectile that the sword fires deals 3 damage. The physical sword strike itself deals 4 damage. A rolling attack deals 5 damage. And the rocket boost deals 6 damage. And coming into stage 4 here, early on in this stage is actually an instance of using specific attacks to root destroying something in a fewer hits. There's going to be a section here where I'm destroying a bunch of gates. Each of these gates has 16 HP, so what I'm doing is using a rolling attack, 2 rolling attacks, and a rocket boost each. That one took more than 3 hits because I actually contacted it by accident. This is one of the few games where you can actually deal damage to enemies through contact damage. Like, it's very common in games that if you touch an enemy, they deal contact damage to you, but you can actually deal contact damage back to enemies in this game. However, it's something that you never want to actively do because contact damage only deals 1 damage to enemies, whilst giving them a slight period of invincibility, so it's basically never the preferred thing to do, unless they literally have 1 HP remaining, which is very uncommon. So, not exactly an auto-scroller section there, but there is a wall of water chasing you through those hallways, which you never actually see in a speedrun because we firmly outrun it. And now we're going straight on to the stage 4 boss. It's going to be a 3-phase boss where there's first some turrets here. Then there's going to be one more turret on the other side. And then the main body is going to come out. I have way too much health here, so I'm going to take a damage boost here. Okay, I'll take a second one, whatever. That's fine. And now just trying to deal efficient damage on the main body here. Like, the rotating arms can be the big nuisance in that fight, where they deal quite a bit of damage to you. They deal a full heart every time they hit you, and they also have their own solid hitboxes, which, when the boost collides with them, can basically stop your boost and drag you towards them, because the boost is supposed to ricochet off surfaces, but when a surface is as uneven as those arms are, it can cause the boost to behave in very strange ways. So Golden Pyramid here. There are no glitches and real exploits in this game. Stage 5 is the closest that this game comes to using a skip, where this is supposed to be a maze of a stage. But by triggering this panel twice, we can just bypass most of the puzzle solving in the stage and just go straight onto the mini-boss. And then a little bit more platforming and we'll be straight onto the boss of this stage. First deals 6 hits, it's going to transition into phase 2 where it becomes airborne. 6 more hits. Okay, that was actually pretty clean. Now this is also not a glitch, but it is very precise. Trying to get onto here and boost up along the ceiling there. That is very precise to be able to get that. Take 1 damage boost here, boost up. Take 1 more damage boost, turn around and diagonally boost into the floor to be able to get diagonally boosted a certain way. Touching that spike ceiling there that I almost flew into is instant death. So you never want that to happen. You always want to be in a particular spot so that you don't risk actually touching the ceiling there. So I'm really not in a good position here against this boss. I don't have very much health remaining, so I'm going to have to take this pretty slow and safe. He is wasting some time himself though, so hopefully I'm not going to die after he's wasting all his time. Okay, that's fine. As long as I did that boss deathless, that's the most important thing, because I really don't want to do the second half of the stage again. So the sandworm there is unique in that, for whatever reason, all of the damage values that I described before, that you do with your regular attacks, they're all halved against the sandworm. And then if they result in a decimal, they're rounded down. So the rolling attack normally deals 5 damage, but that is halved to 2.5 and then it's rounded down to only 2 damage per hit. So rocket boosting as much as possible is definitely the favourable attack against that boss, since it deals 3 damage instead of 6, which is 50% more than a rolling attack does. So like on most bosses, if you want the highest DPS option, you just use the rolling attack as much as possible, but on that boss in particular, you want to use the rocket boost as often as possible, because it simply is dealing more damage per second. So Music Land here, already done a little bit of strange platforming with the drums. Getting a very tight jump there off the pole. You can jump as you swing past it, which is... I'm not entirely sure what the frame window is for it, but it is not very generous. Oh, come on, get over. Alright, so we get a little symbol section here where you don't want to fall into the pipes below, or they transport you part way back through the stage. It's not a huge deal though. Get some health pickups going up that staircase. Now this is the last screen in stage 6 before we get to the stage 6 boss. 2, 3, 4, 5. There's quite a lot of instances throughout the run where I'm rooting out my usage of rolling attacks so that I am 1 away from entering exhaustion in the general movement sections. Obviously against a boss fight such as this one coming up, I'm just going to be damage boosting against the boss and getting infinite rolling attacks, but when you're just using it for movement through the stage, you really have to root how many rolls you can actually use before getting exhausted. Oh, come on dude, play ball. Man, he really being a nuisance here. I've never seen him be this obnoxious. And I can't believe I actually didn't deal enough damage to kill him there. That's irritating. Sometimes the bosses in this game can just do this, that they are very uncooperative. And unfortunately, Axel is the heaviest damage dealer in the game, where his sword swipe can deal heart and a half, and his own rocket charge attack deals 2 hearts, that one. And something that I haven't really highlighted is that this isn't really a glitch, but it's kind of more a feature of the game, that whenever you perform a boost, it resets whatever iframes you currently have. So if you've taken damage, you are in an iframe state, and then if you release a boost that you have charged, once you exit that boost, you no longer have iframes, so you're able to take another hit immediately after exiting the boost that you just used. So what that means is that in some cases, it's very easy to accidentally take 2 hits almost back to back inside where your iframes should be. And if that's during, say, Axel's rocket boost attack, where you just reflexively release the boost at the wrong time, you can instantly lose over half your health bar. Like, it can be very punishing sometimes. So coming into stage 7 now, long auto-scroller. Again, if you've put the kettle on, if you want time to finish your brew, this is the perfect opportunity. This is quite an extended auto-scroller. But most of it, I'm just going to be sitting in the top left here. Again, I can't really speed up this auto-scroller. I can only slow it down from too much going on. And being in the corner here will have most stuff off screen that I can manage to keep off screen. So it's just less objects on screen for the game to need to load. The boss fight of this stage coming up, though, is quite involved. And is definitely, in my opinion, the most dangerous part of the run. It's the easiest part of the run to take a death on. And if the RNG is just atrociously awful, you can potentially get walled here. It's going to be a robot mech duel against Axel, the boss of the previous stage, where we're both going to be in these giant robot suits. It's going to be like a rock'em sock'em robot duel in space. But casually and even speed-wise, a lot of people have always hated this boss fight. Like, I've heard a lot of people say, this is an amazing game, but I just would never want to speedrun this game because of this boss fight. Like, I hate it and it ruins the game. And a lot of people have said that casually as well, that this is a great game, but they can't stand the boss fight in this stage. The way that it often goes is that Axel just tears you to shreds. He just punches back and forth and you die very quickly, and you honestly feel helpless against him. I did some digging around with a RAM viewer to look at some of the memory values of what's going on in the fight, and it turns out that you are actually on equal footing with Axel. Both of your mechs are identical in terms of the movement options they have, the health that they have, and the attack options that they have. It's just that Axel plays the fight a lot better, because the game really doesn't explain what the mechanics of this fight are or what their parameters are. So basically, your main attacking option in the robot mech is to use punches, lefts and rights. And it's very tempting to just spam a jab repeatedly. Like, if you just spam left or spam right, you can punch extremely quickly. But what the game doesn't tell you is that that actually diminishes the value of each punch quite significantly. You deal like a fraction of the normal damage if you're just spamming one direction back and forth. Instead, what you're supposed to do is alternate your punches, which actually increases the base damage of each punch. And you can finish this fight in as few as like 11 or 12 hits if you get perfect hits. So the strategy that I'm going to use is to intentionally miss with my left and then connect with my right. And I'm going to try and keep him locked in the corner to begin with to get his health down very quickly and try and get him past the first phase of the fight as quickly as possible. The phases of the fight pretty much just correspond to his remaining HP. When he has like above half health, he is completely random. He can do whatever he wants. That's phase 1, and that's a very dangerous phase because he can choose to just berserk rush you with perfectly timed alternating punches. That's what kills you very quickly. The objective is to get him to phase 3 as quickly as possible when he's at critical HP, and when he's in that phase, he's going to berserk rush me again, but he doesn't stop berserk rushing until you're dead. Like, you can't defend it and wait it out because he will not stop until you're dead. So the objective is to get him to critical HP whilst you still have a lot of HP, and then just damage race him and kill him before he kills you. It's really the only realistic option. So here we go, and this is full serious time for me. This is very punishing if I get it wrong. Okay, he's choosing to be passive, which is fine, because this is pretty much a guaranteed win, but it is a bit slower. But at least it's a guaranteed win. And now that he's stuck in the corner, I'm fine to just spam jabs. So, yeah, alright. He decided to do absolutely nothing to me in the end. So, this boss fight's weird. Sometimes you get fights like that where he just gets stuck in phase 2 in defensive, and then he does nothing, and then it looks like a really easy fight. I would hate for someone to see me do that and then think, oh, I'm going to try and run this game and do that, and then they're going to have a really, really bad time with that fight if they just assume that every attempt goes like that. Oh no, I'd hate that. So stage 8, last stage of the run, we have these beautifully 3D rendered missiles. Like, for SNES graphics, those look really, really nice. But they are very deadly. If they like contact me wrong at any point, they do crush me instantly. It kills you regardless of remaining HP. So I'm being very careful there to not get crushed by them. So now we're going towards the Oh, there's exhaustion. There you go. So I accidentally triggered exhaustion. You get to see what it looks like. You just flip out for 3 seconds and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you can't reset that state. You can't exit that state. The only way to get out of that is to take damage. Where, again, it will just reset your exhaustion meter if you take damage whilst you're doing that. Please let me through. So that's an example of the old video game thing of enemies have a fixed spawn location, and if you are forced backwards, they are considered to be off screen again, so then they'll spawn again next time you get to that spot. So when you keep getting knocked back by those guys, they can basically infinitely spawn if you get knocked back far enough, which is a little irritating. So we've got the core here, last mini-boss of the game. Quite a dangerous one, where there's these blue crystals which I'm trying to destroy. They have like 26 HP each. So I need a rocket boost and 4 rolling attacks each. And I'm trying to do as much damage boosting on the yellow rings as possible rather than the blue crystals, because the yellow rings deal half a heart per hit, whereas the blue crystals deal a full heart per hit. But fairly okay there. I'm at low health now, but I am going to get full health pickups here, entering the final boss. And I do just want as much health as possible for the last boss, because there is no score countdown after the last boss. The run ends when the last boss dies. So you just want as much health as possible. Even though I've taken half a heart here, I still have full health for the purpose of doing the boss fight, because the boss only deals damage in full heart increments, as I like to call it. So I have the same number of hits that I can take right now than if I had an additional half a heart. I'm going to give one attempt at using the very risky but very fast strat, and if that doesn't work, I'm just going to use the safe strat. Time is when the boss explodes. Time. That was a really clean last boss fight, actually. Like, he used a lot of lightning, which is random and lags out the game, but overall that was a really clean last boss fight. I'm glad that I executed that correctly and didn't make any bad decisions there. 2030? That's pretty alright, considering I took at least one death in the run. I'm pretty happy with that. Right.
It might be a couple of seconds off because of lag and stuff.
It's not a PB, so the exact timing doesn't matter. But overall, clean run, yeah. And I'm gonna finish me tea now. Because I believe you've got some sort of run setup to do, right? There's some idiot doing another run after me. Am I correct?
Yeah, there's some weirdo called Drakodan playing the game Astro Boy Omega Factor in the birth category. That's scheduled to go live at 5:54, so we do have about 15 minutes before then.
So what you're saying is I should have done worse to try and keep on schedule. Alright.
You should have been about 5 minutes slower, yeah.
Okay. I'll just...
Remember that for next time, eh?
I'll just take more deaths next time, yeah, that's fine. I can do that.
No, we'll go over to our intermission, we'll set up the next run, and I'll leave you with some videos from Special Effects showing you just what sort of work they do with the disabled people that they help. It's honestly fantastic, and !donate in the chat if you want to help support that. We'll be back very soon.